So, I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Tuesday, January 16 regular Police Commission meeting. Joey, you want to lead us on the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Joe.
Welcome.
All right. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Chief? You're going to cover it under your report then? Or?
Yeah, I have a presentation. I have a small presentation during the department update I'll give about 2023.
So, no additions or deletions to the agenda? Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the December 19 regular Police Commission meeting?
Approval of minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Terrific. Moving right along. There are no action items, correct, Doug?
No, sir.
Okay, then please proceed with your department updates and discussion that you wanted to do.
Hello. I've got a couple department updates, and then I was going to do a small PowerPoint presentation about 2023 our
Can you
budget.
get closer or louder? Just sometimes you come through soft.
I know.
I'm getting that from,
I know.
feedback from Kroger.
So I have a couple things for the department update, and then I'm going to do a little PowerPoint presentation about the department 2023 and upcoming new budget year. Our new dispatcher, Joe Catania, completed his CTO program, so he's on his own now. So that means that platoon's at full strength. So that's, I know those officers are really happy with it. He's doing really good. He's working midnights on platoon 2, and we're going to send him to a 40-hour dispatch school on top of his communication training that he just went through. So he'll be getting additional training. We're going to continue that. For the police officer hire, remember we did the interviews a couple of months ago?
Yes, sir.
We anticipate the background to be done this week, including his medical and psych. So we're going to go to the board on Monday, and Mr. Porcherelli will have to be an agenda item for you.
I see it.
And then seeking for permission to make the final hire pending everything is completed on time and he passes everything, which we don't anticipate any problems. And then we're hoping to get him started in early February on the road. He comes with experience, so maybe we believe his field training program will be a little shorter than an untrained officer. The Axon got approved by the board. You guys remember the Axon for the body cams and the car cameras? So we started working on that. They seem like they really have their act together. They're already going to start shipping all the materials and setting up, installing the cars, and they're trying to get us to set up our training program for the officers on how to use the equipment. So they're navigating the whole process for us, which is nice. It's a big improvement for us. And then unfortunately, I'm not sure if I can switch this over, but we had our school crossing guard. We are without a school crossing guard now. So I know it's a great time of the year to start a new crossing guard position. If anybody was interested, it's $15 an hour, half hour in the morning, half hour in the evening, but a little before school and a little after school. So the administration will be doing the crossing guard duties until we can fill that position. Or any of you
Doug, for payment,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry, I
Go ahead.
didn't interrupt you. For payment, you said $15 an hour. You said it's about a half hour in the morning, half hour at, so
1 hour a day.
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we've had it before where we've had two individuals do, I don't want to say job sharing, because it's one did a half hour in the morning, one did a half hour in the day, in the afternoon. We're willing to work with anybody's schedule to try to make it work as much as we can. Scheduling a whole bunch of different individuals would be difficult, but right now the administration will be doing it, and hopefully with road support, if any of you gentlemen are looking for a part-time job.
Yeah, I get right on that.
Okay, thanks for your support. All right, so any questions on that information? All right, moving on. So this is about a 20-page PowerPoint presentation of the annual report. So if you guys have any questions, just stop me, interrupt, and we'll go from there, okay? So these are our stats from 2023. When you compare them, for the next two slides, it'll be the department stats for the 2023. When you compare them to 2022, there's not much changes. Some of them, like calls for service, is up 129 calls. There's not a huge variety of change. A couple of the notable ones, like OWIs went down 4. So these are the stats are pretty much the same. Verbal warnings went down 98. Nothing really broke either way. It's the second part of it for arrests made. Mileage driven for the vehicles went down 7,900 miles for the year. But when you break it down for 365, 2 12-hour shifts, 2 cars on the road, it comes down to 6 miles a day per car. So when you add that all up, it looks like a bigger number than it is. Any questions on those department stats? I'll move on to the next part of this. This is the animal control stats. Hers are about the same. Hers calls went down to 178 calls for service, where some of their numbers went up and down, about the same as the officers. Her donations did go up just below $4,000 in donations she acquired for the year. So community policing, the ones in red, the ones that are in black are the ones we've had before. The ones in red are newer to our department. The Grosio Safe Key was started before COVID, but it didn't really get much traction. People wanting to have people come to their house during COVID, and getting information for that wasn't really the right time. But since we've remember we did a presentation here, and I think Officer Dalpiaz did one at the board meeting. In the mailer we put out, we've actually increased that from up to 300 households now. So before, I think it was in the below 100. Now we're at 300 households. So that's a good thing for the community. And like I said, we're hiring a Meridian school crossing guard. So we kind of started that last year, the full-time part of it, and now we're seeking another one. Any questions on that? Partnerships about the same as they were we've had. School district, Downriver Guidance Center. The DCC is the one that I think Mr. Renka and I were talking about earlier, that overdoes our IT for basically the whole department. They don't do the IT portion of it, but they, like our CAD systems, it's all shared downriver through New World. They're the ones in charge of that. So that's actually a big part of our department. They control some of the federal grant money too. Partnerships. These are all the ones where we have a person committed to the dive team and the SWAT team. And when Deputy Chief Pelham was here, he was part of the Downriver hostage negotiations team. They have a vacancy, so we're gonna when they publish for that, we're gonna see if a couple of our officers want to interview for that. The Major Crimes Task Force is a newer one they put together. That's not a commitment position per se like the other ones are. This is something they put together downriver that if any city has a major crime, like a shooting or some larger incident, everybody in an agreement, not a written one, will send their detectives to those cities for like force multipliers, so they don't have two officers running a major crime incident. Now they have 20, doing interviews, processing, helping out the department. It's kind of a gentleman's agreement, if I can call it that. So that's I started doing that about a year ago. This is our current revenue sources. So these are the millages that we have right now. We have our 5 millages. We have our 3 dedicated operating police millages, 1, 2, and 3 at the bottom there. Then we have the general allocated, and then we have the general operating one. And those are the 2 that we share the township. Current revenues. I'm gonna go back there. And we have our millage on the right. There's bullet points. Forfeiture and grants are different ways that we can acquire money to help alleviate the taxes and the budgets. Current revenue sources continued. So Lieutenant Counts received that 1 grant we talked about a couple meetings ago for the accreditation grant. Operation Stone Garden, where Deputy Chief Brozak got those free binoculars, thermal binoculars. I think we had to pay $1,000 of them for 2 of them. I believe they're $7,000 a piece. Stone Garden funds, we've always had those. Tobacco compliance grant. The partnership with the state for the Bulletproof Vest, the partnership which we bought new vests for the officers this year. And the new one for us is also the Walmart community grant, which they paid for a lot of the tourniquets and medical supplies for officers for responding to medicals. So I'm going to take a little bit more time on this one. This is our past budgets, present budget, and future budgets. We got the yellow on the far left there. Those are our past budgets. The approved budgets, the actual budget, and then the deficit or amended, what was changed on it. You have the current voted millage column, which that doesn't change for the future because right now this is what we have for our millages, our current millages. Our current assessed mills is what is taxed to the public, which is different than the voted mills. It's actually less because of headling. I don't want to go into that. And then you see the mills needed. So you'll see for 2023 you go over 6.6 mills voted by the taxpayers. 5.79, so we'll call it 5.8, was collected by the township when our budget needed 5.87 for us for 23-24. And that shows the taxable value, which we're using 3%. This was we're not economists, we're not CPAs. This is in conjunction with both the past and current financial directors helping us with these charts. So we're using 3% for our taxable value of a mill. But I think this year it's 5%. So if you go down further down the line, you see the next budget coming up. The current assessed mills of 5.79, we're going to call it 5.8. It shows that our budget currently, our next budget coming up, we're going to need 6.1 mills. So we're not properly funded right now for the upcoming budget year. And then you'll see the increase, the 3% increase on the taxable value. Try to make that chart as easy as possible without over inundating with numbers. Are you guys able to follow along on that, or any questions? I guess would be a better way to put it.
Well, it's basically not the first time we've seen these.
I know you guys have seen this for about a year and a half, so maybe 2 years. Numbers change a little bit with the taxable value and how they assess it, but
No, so I think this is a good thing to review, right? I mean, we've got the flyer out there. There's a election coming up to basically change the way the department's funded. And these are the numbers that we use to generate the request to the township board.
keep in mind budgets, and when you have public safety, fire and police, I don't want to speak for the fire, but giving overtime or shortages in staff, there's a lot of different variables that can change what actually the bottom line is. So if that makes any questions, answers any questions. And move on? We good?
Yep.
Joe?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next, did I skip one there? All right, so this is our upcoming forecast or projection for the 24-25 budget. So what this is that these are some of the assumptions that are used that, like for wages. Our department in October of 22 went to 12-hour shifts. It's created different funding mechanisms or pay levels. So there's a 5% increase on that. The retirement budgeting is new because all the years that we've had the department that I know of, that when a person left, that wasn't budgeted for their banks. So the new financial director thought it'd be a good idea, which we agree, to start putting a little bit of money aside every year to help facilitate retirements. We have 3 of them coming in the next 2 years.
So she is agreeing to fund like an accrual account for those future expenses. Because in the past, they decided, the township has always kept that internal in the treasurer's office.
I believe so, correct. Upcoming retirements would be Celeste Lant in 26, scheduled, or can, Deputy Chief Brozak in 26, and myself in 26, so. Then you go across the board, you see healthcare, these are the rates that we were,
Is Joey taken back over then?
sure,
Joey,
come on up.
you know somebody named Joey?
So the 4% for the healthcare is what they have is accounting for the yearly increases. MERS 7%. Miscellaneous is about the only part of the budget that we actually can I hate to say, kind of control. A lot of the rest of it is controlled by the collective bargaining agreement of the union contract. So the 10% of miscellaneous is where you repairs for the cars, the roof. We're going to get into a lot of that stuff later on. The total, that's what the projected total is going to be, the 4.7. And then then you subtract I know we all learned it this year about the DDA and brownfield. Current allotted assessed mills, that's still at 5.7. That'll change if hopefully we get our millage passed. And then mills needed, and then our taxable, what a mill counts as. So this is our organizational chart. So by moving to 12-hour shifts, it changed how we shaped the department. So you'll see there's 4 columns. There's 2 day shift platoons, we're calling them platoons, and 2 midnight platoons. The lieutenant is part of the day shift platoon there, but he oversees all of the road patrol. This is a 24-person staffing for the department. It's not much different than what we've always seen. It's just set up different because of the 12-hour schedule structure. So I think you guys all saw this a year ago. I'm not sure when we all worked on it, about a year ago or more. Yep.
Just on this, so which 2 would be short? So you just pick 2 shifts and they're short?
The Deputy Chief Brozak does all the scheduling, sets up the alignment, but we're running I think all of us here have worked midnights. We try to keep the midnight shifts full. When you see that one day shift that's short, that's where the lieutenant actually fills that spot, where he's put him up higher to show that he's responsible for all 4 platoons, but he actually fills it in there where we have 16 officers on the road. Did that answer your question on that, or?
No, kind of.
Are you talking about right here?
No,
Okay.
that's Kevin's spot.
Yep.
No, what I'm asking is, if this is a 24 organizational chart for 24.
Correct.
So, I'm sorry. It's an organizational chart for 24. Right now, we only have 22 in the department.
Correct, and when if Mr. White gets hired, he'll put us at 23.
Right, so, but as of today, what you would do is you would take any one of these, if you were gonna,
We short 2 platoons.
that's my point.
We're doing that right now.
So if you were to just highlight 2 positions, you would take one from whatever Todd's shift he shorts, and there'd be 2 positions in yellow, which means they're not there.
And correct. And what
Okay.
that causes is to fill, if there is overtime, if we had this for Christmas vacations, spring breaks coming up for officers with families or whatever, they travel. When another person takes a day off or vacation or calls in sick, and it is that short platoon, now they're not at even, they're 1 down. So an officer has to stay over either 4 hours to work a 16 or get ordered. There's been a lot of overtime lately because we still have to run business and train people,
I understand.
which causes overtime. So when you have a short shift, creates fatigue and overtime.
To further shed some light on that, as a result, we end up paying overtime, and our overtime costs are about 1,850 hours this past year, which is almost a full man. So, by not filling the position, we're spending almost a full man's worth of overtime
I know,
to backfill. So, I mean, it's something that some people ask, well, why do you need that 24th man? Well, we've agreed to go to the 12-hour shifts. That requires 24 people, and when we don't have 24 people, we have to back it up with overtime or people shifting other things. And so we're not really saving the money of a man. We're paying almost 90% of a man in overtime. So it's critical, but go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure it was shown that this is the organizational chart that the police commission put together previous, and it's probably been in there for numerous years, but.
It has.
we changed it for the 12-hour, we changed it for the 12-hour shifts, but yes, the 24.
Right,
The 24-man.
for the total.
The 24-man roster has been approved through the township for a number of years.
We can show, us as administration went through all the old timesheets. We can show April 1st is our first day of our budget every year. We went back to April 1st all the way back to 2003, and we've had 24, 25 people all the way through up to 2020. From 2020 to this day, it's gone from 24 to, I think, 19 at one point. And then we had the whole COVID situation. But people got to remember too, I know it's about money. Everything runs about money. But when you're down to, we picked up Joe, dispatcher, so I put us at 22, we were at 21.
Right,
You
so there
people
was
off.
3 short.
So off a lot. Imagine working you're working your 312s, but now you're ordered on the 16s, and then your day off you come in. I don't know how many people work 16-hour shifts. It's fatiguing. You're out there for 20 degrees. I mean, there's more to it than just money. That's what I'm saying.
It's
wear and tear.
critical.
It's wear and tear on the tires. So
It's critical that the residents and the township board, is cognizant of the fact that the 24 people isn't some new request of ours. The 24 people
This is my point.
has been the approved manning of this department for years. And
staffing level.
staffing level, yes.
Yeah.
So
Do you have a question?
we've had to cover the lack, like you said, where we've lost people. We had people on sick leave and other things that kept us from getting to the 24.
We had three positions open up last year.
Yeah.
In 23.
So anyway,
it's all in
I'm
one
sorry.
year. That's,
Did we answer your question?
Well, no, I
Joe?
wasn't, that's what I was trying to point out. We're 3 short, actually, and now we're 2 short, and hopefully we'll only be 1 short as of Monday night.
right.
But my point was, this chart shows the normal, but this isn't that's all. I was just trying to show this isn't the norm.
Right.
And
This is the goal, what we're trying to get up to.
that was my
It's
point.
been like we've had 24 in our rotation.
We've
for
had
years.
24 quite a few times, but the other thing is, because some people sitting up at this table at the township board level indicated, well, are we sure we need that other officer? Well, we're paying almost a whole officer's pay in overtime by not having the officer. So, sorry.
No worries. Let's see, I cheated there. Next slide. So, as you guys know, our building is aging. It's been developing a lot of structural problems, capital improvements. So, earlier during the summer, the township board approved us. Remember the COVID funds that we had? They approved us, allotted us a certain amount of money to start trying to fix the building. I'm gonna go now. This is where we're gonna get into where some of this money is gonna be used also, because we have a lot of repairs that need to be made. But we repaired the front parking lot. We had a lot of concrete holes and crumbling concrete. I don't know if you guys recall the sign in front of the department, police and fire. Concrete was falling off of it. The 2 fuel tanks, our current insurance underwriter basically said they will not insure our gas tanks anymore. So that one caught us off guard. That was a very expensive thing, but that's almost done. I think the new tanks are being shipped this week. We're just waiting for them to be shipped. They're above ground. They followed all the right safety codes and procedures to take out the old tanks. Or not taking them out, the way they handle them now. We repaired and painted the roof. I don't know if you guys, there's a lot of rust up there. That's the original roof from 1992, I believe it is. That was all paid. All those were paid for out of COVID funds. We found a way to pay for that. So this is current and recent updates projects. These 2 gentlemen right here updated the federal siren system and the 1700 radio station. So that was paid for out of federal forfeiture. It was not a budgeted item. Mr. Ranka, there you go. Upgraded the so Lieutenant Counts got us a grant through the COPS grant, which is going to pay for updating our evidence room and our records area to accreditation standards. So I think when Joe was Lieutenant Porcerelli, I think it's exactly the same. Maybe even when you were Sergeant Porcerelli, it's the same. I don't really know. I know that was only a couple years. It hasn't changed, but for accreditation standards, we need to increase it. We need to make it, or we won't get it. It's part of the accreditation process. We had that grant partnership where we replaced some officers' body armor earlier this year, but like these things, some things just happened this past over the weekend. The lobby bathroom sprung a leak through the roof, so it flooded, we're going to show a picture, causing damage all the way down from the roof all the way through the whole building. So we're like, okay, we'll get that fixed. We're going to pull that out of the budget. Then the PR garage door opener, the PR and the wash bay are both, the building was built in 92, but the garage door openers are actually stamped manufactured in 1985. So we're going to get into that one in a minute. But the one in the PR we had to replace today. They couldn't even fix it. The HVAC system we're working, the fire chief, they kind of got the bad end of it. Their heating system's not working as good as our side. we'll invite them over at some point maybe. Our printers are all dying. Jessica's just died over the last week. It won't work right, so we had to buy a new printer. These laptops, you're going to see the future slides here. So here's our building. If you guys look at where it says rainwater leaking inside the door, I don't know if you guys can see it. Do you see these little white dots right here? Can you guys see that on the picture? That door is shut, and that's the rain coming through the door. That's inside the building. So you see the water spots down here. But that we believe with we bored out all the drains to the sewer system. They were all clogged. The gutters should have proper draining now, and the roof repairs we've had. We think that's a remedy, but that still has to be repaired. If you look right here, this is a different door. You can feel the cold air going through there, and we haven't had any mice yet, but it's another one we're going to fix. This is outside the sergeant's room, or the old detective room. That's over the overhang, but you can see the cement's coming up right here to where if water gets in there, it's going to lift that window. So these are a few more, you got a couple more, you're going to see a lot of these repairs. This is on the fire side, so if you were to go to the wall there, the back wall right here, and turn around, you see it even worse. But this is the metal roof caving in. This is where it's buckling and coming in. All the rust damage is there. This is the front of our police department building. You see the rust right here, and there's a light right here. You can barely see it. It doesn't work. So when the light that's right above our door does not work. So these are all on the list of repairs we need to get done, but our budget is tight. We're not going out and spending useless things. We know we have a tight budget. So here's our generator. The original generator, which I believe is is it you guys? Chrysler. It's a Chrysler small block tied to a Kohler system right here. It works great. We have it maintenance every year. We have it checked on, and they do a stress test on it where they run it real hard. It carries it works fine. It's passed every one of the tests, but it's a 1992 car motor that runs good. I don't know how many of you guys are driving a car that's 2002 or 2012, but this is one of our concerns. This is a very big expense. We're trying to find out ways how to pay for this. This is the other garage door opener that was stamped 1985. This one's still working. It's in the wash bay, and but at the time when we had even more limited funds than we do now, the repair company came in. They took off this metal plating right here, and they put in some zip ties to get it running, and it's been working ever since on zip ties. But we're not trying to be cheap, but we have to fix the bigger things first and kind of go down these smaller ones here. There's rust all over the building. You see the rust right here? This is underneath the overhang. This is an old overhang here. So cars parked underneath there. This is where we had the leak in the roof last week. So it came from the roof down into the bathroom, and now all the drywall, it's a fire break, I believe is what they called it. It's all buckled and needs to be replaced. And you can see all the extended water damage all the way through there. And then all the tiles that were below that into our lobby bathroom are all ruined too. So this is just a different angle of the same leak. So we paid for that out of our budget. That's one we had to fix now. That's not one big. These rust ones we can put off a little bit. So Michigan Bell is still in service, right? There's our actual phone room. This is our internal communications network. Michigan Bell, I don't know when they went out of business, but
Are you talking about your inter-office calls?
this is everything. Any communications to do with phone lines we have right now works. The problem is right here, this phone right here, and I don't mean to keep referring to Joe, sorry, but these are the same phones that have been there for 20 years,
You
probably.
bought good phones, Joe.
Well, Deputy Chief Brozak is going to different ways to try to source out how much is it going to cost to replace our entire phone system, to update it to standards what other departments are using.
Do we have to use wire, or can't we go to voice over IP?
That's what we're looking into right now. We're
Voice
trying to get
over
pricing
IP,
for
I know
that.
is what a lot of,
But with voice over IP, hopefully this doesn't fail, because that all runs electricity.
well,
So you see these are all kind of interconnected here. So it runs great. We have it tested. We ran a stress test on it last year. We do the maintenance on it, oil changes, everything on there. We're doing probably more than, we treat it gently.
how often do we actually use that annually? How many
Every
times
week,
does it kick in
It kicks in every week for a test.
for a test? But I mean,
It runs for, how long does it run for, guys? Like 20 minutes? I don't know, it runs for like an hour, doesn't it?
No, I was saying, how often have we lost power?
Oh.
And had to use it
I
as it
think
was
it ran
designed?
for a week last summer, a couple times.
Yeah, a couple times.
And then it actually had a glitch where we couldn't turn it off. So, but the guy that our maintenance gentleman FaceTimed me and he led us through on how to switch it off, and then he came and repaired it. So going back to this is our phones right here. Hey, they're phones, whatever. But to get all new phones, I think I don't remember, you have over 20 or 30 phones in the entire building. It's fire also. The only way we can get parts for these phones is through eBay now. They stopped manufacturing these years ago. So that's what started this whole thing.
Do we coordinate our phone systems and our computers and our copiers through the township building for a?
Copiers we do. Deputy Chief Prozac is like, he's working on Jessica's scanner copier, and then the one in dispatch went down. We have a lot of old equipment, is what the whole point of this is.
Yep.
And we're not trying to cry me a river, but these things are not going to last forever. The computer, you see a laptop, that's a 2018 laptop. That's what all the road officers use. They work great. But we have to think ahead on what we're going to have and how we're going to fund for this. If you look at the little, the squiggly pad that we have on all these older laptops, that's just worn out, but it still
Do any
works.
of the other downriver police departments, do they lease equipment or have anything like that, or do they all buy?
Some do, but if you want to get your bang for the buck, owning it and then stretching
Yeah,
it longer. Yeah.
We've found that in the past. They always talked big about leasing, but long-term it always costs more.
So here's some more technology. So this little box right here. So what the two gentlemen over here did about updating our radio station, that little box, I don't know when that was built, but you flip it, that's on the weather, comes on the 1700 radio station. You flip it off, they have to go through a very lengthy process to try to make a message. Now it's all digital. They can type it in. I think they selected the voice they wanted to use. They all have these nicknames, like Surrey, and then that's what's repeated over there. So now they have preset ones, depending what the situation is. I think they've made a numerous options, like, hurricane, whatever. They can select it, and then it'll take over the station and publicize it. And then you see right here, it's the ways that they communicate with the schools. It's just outdated equipment, but it still works. This right here is how they turn on the sirens. It's still, we have two of these. Fire department had a backup for it, but ours went down, so I believe this is the fire department's backup. Is that right? This is the fire department's backup, so now they don't even have a system. They came in. This is the only one we have in the building now.
Can we buy a spare off eBay?
I wish. I doubt you could get that on eBay. I know you're joking, but this costs money.
Yeah.
That's not, it works. We'll fix on the structural damage, and then try to prioritize.
We have do we have a township, IT guy that's supposed to?
We have
can help
VC3.
us?
We have VC3. The township went a couple years ago and contracted township-wide. We interviewed tons of vendors.
Thought I remember.
It was
that.
VC3, and there's mixed reviews. There's different ways to get a ticket for a repair is immediate versus we can wait a little bit.
Yep.
Mixed reviews on it, but for the most part, it's working. So that was it. That's my last one was questions.
Well, thank you very much.
No questions?
Comprehensive report.
All right, I practiced for
Anyone
days.
have any questions of the chief?
Did it all make sense?
I think it went very smooth.
All right. That's all I got.
So, can we move on to the department reports, the monthly report to start?
Good evening. So the chief already went over the yearly numbers for the stats, so I'm not going to go over that again. We stayed very consistent. I mean, I know he had mentioned some are maybe off 100 here or there, but I mean, as far as the numbers go, very, very, they haven't changed much. I'm very pleased with the work that the road patrol and dispatch does, and I think it shows with the consistency of the numbers.
How about on the crashes and accidents? Does it look like all of the detours that we've had while they were doing, road repairs, bridge repairs, does it look like it created any more
No.
That's
no,
good.
No. They don't dictate, or not dictate, but it doesn't show that any of the detours or construction.
jumped.
No,
Okay.
no, not at all. For the month of December, the complaints and arrest report, complaints taken for the month were 18, 15 were assigned to the DB, 9 were cleared, 5 were active. There were a couple highlights there that you have in front of you. One was for conservation, the other MDLP. Juvenile report, had a couple juveniles that were caught stealing out of a car. They were caught, the items were returned. The individuals that caught them doing it decided that they have their property back, so they didn't want to prosecute.
Were the perpetrators known to us, or?
Well, everybody's getting younger and I'm getting older, so I don't know the names anymore. Yeah. Monthly training report, this is a big one. I'm happy to see how much training and how much time and effort that we're putting into the officers and dispatchers. The chief is very big on this. I know Lieutenant Counts as well. Jessica does a phenomenal job of tracking the training. So if you look at how we're doing it now to where it was done in the past, we have it down to the month, what's done every month. The nice thing that we have, or the ability that administrators didn't have in the past, is we have basically open source training. You have the ability to go through Lexipol. You can take training at will. Same thing with PowerPhone for dispatch. It's an incredible tool. Just like anything, we're going to see a need or needs in certain areas where we might need to up the training, and we'll assign training. A lot of the officers, sergeants, are taking initiative and doing classes on their own, which shows initiative, and I know that we all appreciate that. Through that, both those pages you can see through the month of December and some of November, all of the training that went on. Two of the highlighted ones, the mental illness and then autism. Everybody was assigned both of those classes, so everybody in the department had to take both of those, and those were both through Lexipol. And that, I do have the reserve report. For the reserve report for the month of December, they logged 55.5 hours. The events that they worked on the 1st was Island Glow. On the 7th through the 10th, Sacred Heart, we had Boar's Head, which is nice to see that back. And the 15th, they provided traffic control. We had the new cameras installed on the bridges. So, and that is all I have. Any questions?
Deputy Chief, Joe, you have anything?
No, sir.
Eric?
Nope.
Thank you very much.
And if I could, I know Doug had went over a lot of the technology and that, but to go back to the phones, we've been given somewhat of a window of how long these phones are actually going to be operable. And I want to say we have 1.5 to 2 years before they're not even going to be. I mean, it's such old. I mean, who's using landlines with?
Didn't you say you're getting a proposal on?
Right. Yes. Yeah. So you
They're
talk
having
the voice
issues.
over IP. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you're working with Derek on that, right?
No, on the phones.
We're just getting our estimates and finding out what Derek does not, we're not to that point yet. We have to kind of do our
That's
homework
where
on it,
we'll
and that's
go
what
to-
Todd and Kevin are working on, so.
And then, so we'll have some more information on that, but just so you know, we are working with a window there on how long it's going to actually be.
Well, how often do you think you should come back to us and give us a status update so we know if you're having problems that we can help with?
By the next commission meeting, I have a plan
Okay.
and an idea, and actually,
Just keep
Officer
us up to date.
Officer Delpiez has a background in that from her prior work. So I talked to her a little bit about it today, and I'm going to work with her a little bit, and we're going to put something together.
Okay,
All right?
sounds good.
Okay.
Anyone else have anything? Well, Joe, we're down to you.
I actually have no report.
Great.
So-
It's been a quiet time over the holidays, right?
Somewhat, yeah.
All right, well, we have no public comment tonight. There's no one hiding back there. Can I have a motion to approve the monthly reports?
Motion to approve.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone else have anything? Otherwise.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, would you ask her to shut us off?